What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jets Report. I'm your host, Patrick Siepman. Now, coming up on today's show, I want to go over Jets training camp and just get you guys my one clear takeaway. I think it is crystal clear, and it starts with this guy, Aaron Glenn. So, what is my biggest takeaway? It's this: that Aaron Glenn has completely changed the culture and has already given this team an identity that they have not had during the past couple of seasons. I think it is obvious that this team really does feel like a real football team for once. Like, especially during the Aaron Rodgers era, it really just felt like almost a fugazi. It was all for like Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It looked great on paper, but when it came down to real football, obviously you know how that turned out. So my biggest takeaway so far from training camp, it's Aaron Glenn. Everything he's talked about this whole offseason, everything that he is just about as a coach, as a person, it is really coming to fruition here at the start of training camp. But if you guys want to show Aaron Glenn some love here on today's show, if you guys could go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. You never know if his, one of his family members or maybe even him himself is watching this video. Show him some love. Hit that thumbs up icon. Let's see if we can get the 200 likes on today's show. I would really, really appreciate it. All right, so all the reports from camp are saying that this is one of the most physical camps they have ever seen. I literally just saw a clip from training camp practice earlier on today. Mason Taylor is ending practice. He has a sweet catch over the middle field. It is literally a helmet-to-helmet hit, and he pops right back up. Like, these guys are hitting. These guys are treating these practices like it is game day, and if you treat them like they are game day, hopefully game day feels a lot easier for this Jets team. So it's a very physical camp. These guys are really getting after it, and I think the identity is here for the New York Jets. We know Aaron Glenn coming from the Detroit Lions, obviously a very physical culture over there. We knew immediately the Jets were going to have a physical culture, but it kind of goes even further than that. We knew their identity was going to be based on running the football, playing good defense, and that's what we've seen so far. I mean, even Justin Fields talking with Kay Adams today, a big reason why Aaron Glenn brought him in was because of his dynamic rushing ability. And having that rushing quarterback, that dual threat quarterback, can just help the run game in so many different ways because you got to account for that guy as long with the running backs as well. So the identity's here, and I do want to bring on producer Dylan to chop it up real quick. Talking about Aaron Glenn, obviously Dylan, diehard Jets fan, here helping me out on the channel. And Dylan, if you just got one overarching theme that is different from this season compared to the past couple.
I mean, it looks like they're striving to have a winning culture. And the past couple of years, I mean, they had, like you said, the fugazi of Rodgers, here's Adams, here's all these star players.
Yep.
But they didn't have chemistry. It was pretty much just the Rodgers and Adams show. And as you can see from just the clips that we're seeing from training camp, like the defense and the offense, even though they're teammates at the end of the day, they're trying to get each other to improve.
Yeah, no, they're going back and forth. It's really an iron sharpens iron situation every day at practice. And even I thought something that was telling, these guys really buying into Aaron Glenn. And, you have mentioned this to me countless times, but just Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. Both those guys wanted to get paid some big bucks this offseason. They could have, made this an issue. They could have sat out minicamp. They should have sat out OTAs, but I'm sure you're thrilled that probably the two, faces of the franchise, they seem bought in as well.
And I think it's just the whole Aaron Glenn culture that he's brought in. Like, they could have brought in some other coach. They didn't take seriously, and then I bet they would have held out. Even if Rodgers was back this year with the Jets, I think Garrett Wilson wouldn't have been happy, and it would have been a way different approach. But because of what this Jets team has done with Muji, with Glenn, they're building all the right pieces to make this team a winning team, which they haven't made the playoffs since 2010. They're definitely getting closer to making that a possibility, though.
And I think it's also like a perfect fit because when you think about like the prime days of the New York Jets, it is a defensive-minded, it's a physical football team. And, if they would have went out and got maybe a guy like Liam Cohen or even a guy like Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson could be a very good head coach eventually in the NFL. But I just think this was a perfect marriage for, not only Aaron Glenn, because what he wants to do and how he wants to orchestrate a football team is exactly what the Jets needed. You're coming from this kind of soft Aaron Rodgers culture over the last 2 years where now I guarantee you every single week, even if the Jets are not a Super Bowl contender or they're not one of the top teams in the league, I'm sure teams are not going to want to play them every single week. But we'll talk about more on Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields. They were talking about just heading into the season, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. What is your biggest takeaway so far from the Aaron Glenn experience? Just being a fan, seeing how this football team is operating. If you guys could, let me know your thoughts down below. I just think number one for me is just the physicality and just having this team really feel like a football team. Like it's not just a product. It's not just for clicks on Instagram and Twitter, kind of like what Dylan was saying, but it really does feel like a football team. So you guys let me know. What is your biggest takeaway so far from the AG experience? All right, now players are talking about Jets training camp. Garrett Wilson had one of the coolest quotes you will ever see, and then also Justin Fields was just talking about him being a leader. But I do want to start off with this Garrett Wilson quote because, he thinks it goes further than just having a physical and competitive camp saying this. It's not just about being competitive. No, no, and no. You got to train that way. It's got to feel like that at practice. It's got to feel like if you lose at practice, it sucks. It can't just be, we'll turn around when the game comes. And I think that's the main thing that I see that's different. Just the way we're practicing, the intensity, the stakes. It feels like there's stakes. Depending on which period it is, the stakes feel higher. It feels like if you won the drill when you won the drill, and it feels like you lost the drill. And to me, that's how I like it. It's an opportunity to practice winning and get that feeling and what it takes to do it on a consistent basis. And I think it starts out here on the practice field. And, I love that mentality from Garrett Wilson because I made a good point. Like, you can have a competitive camp. Like, you can really get after it. You can hit each other. Like, these guys can be competing at a super, super high level. But I'm sure Garrett Wilson, every time he's going against Sauce, let's just say Sauce gets the better of him, I'm sure the coaching staff is kind of chirping in his ear like, hey, are you going to let that happen? Are you just going to let your guy who was drafted in the same class, you're one of your best friends, I'm sure, beat you on this rep? Like, I love that he was saying, especially that part about the stakes feel so high at practice. Like, they should. And that's a hard feeling to replicate because I guarantee you go to other training camps, it's kind of just going through the motions, trying to get a feel from these guys. But I'm sure it feels do or die because these players on the Jets, most of them weren't drafted or picked up by this regime. They got to prove themselves as well. And, quickly here on Wilson, I think he's going to have a massive year. If somebody legit told me, hey, I think Garrett Wilson is the third best wide receiver in the league, I really wouldn't bat an eye at it because he's got the talent to be that. Like, if he goes out there and has a 1,600-yard year and he is like the catalyst of this Jets offense, we could be having that conversation at the end of the season where it's like, oh, maybe Garrett's better than an A.J. Brown. Maybe he's better than a C.D. Lamb. Plus, he's got his quarterback, his college quarterback at the helm. And Justin Fields was talking about being a leader. Check this out, saying, just be the best leader on this team I can be. I think that's the biggest thing. Leading this offense, having us reach our full potential, me being the best player I can be, elevating the players around me, and competing each and every day out here. Now, however you feel about Justin Fields on the field, it's a different conversation for a different day. But off the field, this team will rally around him. He is a guy that has gone through a whole lot in his playing career. He got chewed out of Chicago. He was 4-2 with the Steelers. They went with Russell Wilson. Didn't want to bring him back. And now he's coming to the New York Jets in kind of his last dance, but with a football team that is built for his strengths and that a locker room that is wanting to play for him. Because that is such a big thing, especially when you get in these 2-3 minute situations late in the fourth quarter. You're down by 3, you're down by 4. You got to go put the ball in the end zone. When you have your guy, a player who is working their tail off, putting in the extra hours like Justin Fields is, can just really spark this team and have them rally around him. So I'll set the line on this one. 7.5 wins. Over, under. You guys make the call for me. Give me an O for over. Give me a U for under. 7.5 wins for the Jets. I think it's going to be right around that marker. I've been saying it. I think it's going to come down to a lot of fourth quarter game-winning drives for Justin Fields. But if he can get it done, could be potentially sitting on a 10-win season for the New York Jets. And make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button on your way out. Preseason just around the corner. Cannot wait, and we'll cover it all here on the channel. So appreciate all of you guys watching. See you next time. Go Jets.